and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only like 11 people alive of the 200 and something crew, and the entire ship was rotting down to the waterline. That's destiny. That's will. That's striving. That's being a trailblazer and explorer. Going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty. It's incredible detail. Tuning into it. They want to shatter your mind. Talking about Justin Bieber.
Hello out there. We're on the air. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another 88 lessons. This one is titled, "This Analogy Changed My View of Bitcoin." And it's going to be a good one today. This is lesson number 18 of 88. So we got a long ways to go and a long time to get there. But we're going to start the show like we usually do here with a bit of a state of the network. It's kind of something new we started doing. I think for the first 10 or so lessons, we basically got right into it, but I like a little bit of a warm up, you know? So we'll take our time. We got nowhere to be. Well, we do, but we're in no rush to get there. So how's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling today? I want you to, what was I going to ask you guys and girls today? I'll think of it. But anyways, welcome everybody. Welcome YouTube. Welcome Rumble. Welcome Zapstream. We get the first zap of the day. I should say second zap of the day, because we had Praetorian very early on today. I'm going to talk about a couple different things. We're going to go through, obviously, the lesson, which is going to be a really good analogy, I think, to help conceptualize Bitcoin a little bit better for yourself and for the conversations that you have in the future about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about orange pilling, friends, family. We're going to be talking about a couple other things too. I don't know how much time we'll have, so I don't want to promise anything. But it's going to be a good show today. You are not going to want to miss a second of it. Other than maybe the first 10 minutes here where we just kind of screw around. But Maria 2000, also known as Maria 5000, zapped 5,000 units of freedom over in the Nostr chat. Good morning, everybody on Nostr. I should tell Nostr that we're live while I'm here, while I'm thinking about it. We'll check on Rumble next. What's going on in Rumble today? A couple folks over there. 20 people, 8 thumbs up. Not bad. Definitely not great, though. There's Praetorian right there. What did Praetorian have to say this morning? Praetorian actually left a really good comment on the Rumble channel today. We might review it. We'll see what kind of time we have. But Praetorian said, left a comment. This is a really good way. If you want to make sure that your comment gets addressed or your question gets addressed, you can send a zap or a super chat or a rant. Good morning, Jor and Visionaries. Have a fantastic Tuesday, Timeless Tuesday. Also, thank you for the dedication yesterday. I'm honored to travel this path along with all of you. God bless you. Kind regards, Praetorian. Shout out Praetorian. Shout out all the Bitcoiners out there. Man, what a community we got going here. Something special's happening, regardless of what the fiat price tells you. Something big, something special. Something revolutionary, you might even say, is brewing right now. And without Bitcoin, we'd be in a lot of trouble. I know that for a fact. Without Bitcoin, I don't know where I would be today. But thankfully, back in 2008, I guess, when the white paper was released, the first block was mined in 2009. And ever since then, we've been on a Bitcoin standard, unofficially. Unofficially on a Bitcoin standard. You can see it. You can see the prices of everything going up in dollar terms and going down in Bitcoin terms. Unless, of course, you're one of the dipshits online that measures Bitcoin by its last 6 months. then you probably don't get it. But if you look at it the last 10 years, 15 years, it's pretty clear what's going on here. It's pretty clear what's coming. So there you go. That's start to the day. We got Praetorian. Thank you, Praetorian. Kevin Hawthorne from Lakeland, Florida. Good morning, Kevin. Good to see you. Praetorian on Rumble and on YouTube. Legend, 1991 and 91. Guess what year he was born? For the algo. Appreciate it, Praetorian. Thank you. Mark's here, 6'5 Sats. Good morning, Mark. Sats and Sunsets. 88 Sats Radio. Sats and Sunsets, one of our multiple MOBs. It's a very rare crowd, multiple MOBs. Every day on the live stream, which I'll put right at the bottom of the screen here. Every morning on the live stream, we give out an award called the MOB, the Most Outstanding Bitcoiner. So usually comes in the form of support, financial support to the channel, because we don't have any sponsors here, as most people know, or something good you did. And Sats and Sunsets is a multiple time winner now. We got a couple multiple time winners in the chat. What do we think of that new logo? I've got a lot of good feedback on, a little bit of not so good feedback on it, but I think I like it. It's a J, obviously, for Jor, but also an 8. And then there's 8 little radio waves coming out the signal there. For signal. That's what we try to do here. We don't try to avoid the noise. You know, there's enough noise out there. We want to focus on what's most important and spend our time talking about that. Ginger Motorsports. Look at that guy. Morning, Ginger. One of the most consistent Bitcoiners that I'm aware of. Here every morning, just like Scotty Boy. Scotty on Rumble says, is this the right place to find the Bitcoin? It is. Thanks for being here, Scotty Boy. Sedge, Grand Cache, Alberta, checking in with a lovely view from the mountaintop. Good morning, Sedge. Good to see you, man. Thanks for all the nice comments in the videos I've been noticing. VHF, morning, buddy. Josh says, good morning, Rumble. Sorry, liberal bosses have me running a bit amok this morning. I'll try to tune into what I can. Good to see you, Josh. Aster, we got a gold bug in here. Gold 191%. Wow, lucky you guys go. Only waited 500 years for that. Nice work. Daddy-O, good morning, my friend. Nice to see you. Sats and Sunsets gifted 188 Sats radio membership. Imagine spending your very short, finite time tuning into something you don't really want to listen to. What a pathetic life. Sats and Sunsets, thank you. Simplistic. Okay. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate that, buddy. I like it too. I like the logo. Simple is always good. Looks like Daddy-O got it. Congratulations, Daddy-O. Nice work, boys. Thank you, Sats and Sunsets. Okay, we got some more things happening over in the Nostr chat. We don't have a whole lot of chats in there, but we got a lot of zaps coming in, which is what we want, which is what we love. We didn't even tell. Yeah, how about 6 years? I mean, it's pretty easy to cherry pick when you're looking for what you want to see. That's for sure. Bitcoin Technician. I like the new thumbnails. Like the ones with me in them? Is that what you mean? Morning, Trent. Good to see you, Trent. Trent's doing a lot of great things for Bitcoin. A lot of people here are doing a lot of great things for Bitcoin. So again, thank you, Maria. Thank you, Praetorian. We got Sats and Sunsets not only buying membership over on YouTube, but also sending some freedom units. 1,800, in fact. Said, I'm off to bed. I'll catch up later. Must have been working nights last night. Mateo, 124. Thank you, Mateo. We got Mark zapped 1,650 units of freedom. Said good morning. Morning, Mark. And Joshua with the Joshua zap. 8,888 units of absolute sovereignty, scarcity, energy, whatever you want to call it. Thank you, Josh. Maria Praetorian. Okay, thank you, guys and girls. And we got Chuck, not to be outdone. Live Free Zap, 1,111 units of freedom. Says good morning, eh? Oh, no, he said good morning, everyone. I just saw an E there. I thought he said A. Okay, thank you, Trent. Good feedback there. Yeah, they seem to be doing a little bit better. Although when I look at my top, I don't know what it is. I look at my top performing videos on YouTube and none of them, they're all just font. But I also think that was when there was a lot more people interested in Bitcoin, when the price wasn't going down, you know? So I don't know if it's a correlation or not. Tough to say. We'll give it a more, we'll increase the sample size, but I appreciate the feedback. Mark's on YouTube, Mark's on Noster, and Mark's on Rumble? Is that true? Wow. The trifecta today for Mark. Kryptoni says, I'm trying to get my father to take Bitcoin as payment. Fingers crossed. You know, I'm going to have something coming here in the next month, I would say, for anybody out there who's looking to orange pill their friends and family. I got a little idea for you. But, I mean, I wasn't going to talk about it yet because I'm not 100% prepared for it. But as we do prepare for it, it might be a good idea to get some test runs in. So I guess if you do have any specific friends or family members that want to that you're trying to orange pill and you're not having any sort of luck with it, let me know. I have an interesting strategy that I want to try out for friends and family of the community here to help get them into Bitcoin. And I don't know what it is. I don't have an answer to this or an explanation for it myself here, but I have noticed this in my own life where my family doesn't necessarily listen to me because I'm me in their family. But if they hear somebody on the internet say something or hear somebody on TV or a professional, then it's a whole different story. So with that in mind, I have an idea here. So I guess what I would say to you or anybody else out there who has family members, I'm probably going to, maybe I'll do it for like 10 people. Maybe I'll limit it to 10 people just to get some feedback, see if it works. But shoot me an email. Shoot me an email and just say, orange pill, what's the details? It's going to be very, I think, very effective, but also very reasonable for people to do. As long as their family can commit, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes of their life, I think we can do some damage there. So shoot me an email. I'll open it up to 10 people. I wasn't going to go into it yet, but that comment kind of triggered this. So I'm going to do up to 10 people. I'll carve aside some time for it. And so if you have any friends, family members, anybody in your life that needs to be orange pilled, just shoot me an email and we'll figure out the details there. I have an idea, and I think it's a really good, solid concept that I haven't heard of anybody else doing yet. So there it is, 88 sats at proton.me. Just shoot me an email, put orange pill in the subject line, and we'll do it. Am I right with that? Do family members and friends listen to other people instead of you, even if you know what you're talking about? Like I might not even have more knowledge than you do, but it's just because it's a different source. It's a verified source, I guess you might say. On the phone, on the TV, on the computer, a professional. They seem to be more accepting of ideas. That's what I've noticed anyways. Mateo says, hard to be a preacher in your own home, right? That's what I mean. And so I think that this is a pretty good concept. So I want to try it out. I'll open it up to 10 people. The first 10 people that email will get in touch. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I think I'm onto something here. So we'll do a test run of 10 people. How does that sound? I think that's manageable. We can do that. Friends and family will dismiss your advice immediately. Yep. Again, unless they hear it on TV or their phone. It's how people are programmed. Whether it's right or wrong, that seems to be the reality there. Oh, we got one email already. Okay. Well, I didn't really expect that to take off. I didn't really expect to talk about it even today. But here we are. Okay, so we should tell Noster that we're live, even though a lot of Noster has showed up already. Noster, how we doing? Duncan, look at this. Duncan, the D and DCA, our daily coffee average. Duncan zapped 4710, 4,710 sats, or units of freedom, as we call them here. FUs. So thank you, Duncan. That's $3. That's the $3 equivalent in fiat dollars. And obviously, since the price has dropped, there's more sats per dollar coming in there. So thank you, Duncan. Duncan says, got some dry powder coming in soon. Need some advice. Would you pay off a lead loan or buy more Bitcoin? Oh, it's a good question. Yeah, I would assume if you made it to this point with your lead loan, you're probably going to be good. That's my guess. You still get a monitor, obviously, and keep it well funded. But I would definitely lean towards buying Bitcoin. The loan can wait. There's some loans, even my house, my mortgage. It's funny. I talked about. I'll just talk about this quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I think it's a good conversation to have, especially based on that comment there. But I had a conversation with a guy yesterday. He was all the way over in Switzerland, and he was asking me for advice in terms of selling his house. He was thinking about selling his house and buying Bitcoin with it, and then buying another house too, buying a new house with a new mortgage. So the reason I like that idea is because, and probably a lot of Bitcoiners out here haven't really thought about this. I never even thought about this until the conversation yesterday. But he basically made the point that he's kind of worried that he's been buying Bitcoin for a lot of years through a KYC exchange. And whenever you put your driver's license or your passport into a KYC exchange, they have all your information, including your home address. And so basically, when you put that information, you're trusting that company that you provided it to keep that safe. And as we've seen with Coinbase, with Ledger, that's not always the case. So basically, he wants a fresh start, new house. He's going to take the proceeds from his new house or his existing house, put it into Bitcoin, and then take out a new loan and buy a new house. So with that, he's going to get a fresh start, essentially. He's not going to have all that Bitcoin tied to his physical location. A lot of Bitcoiners do not think through this stuff. And it's because the fiat price doesn't tell you what this thing's really worth. So he cuts ties there. He gets a lot of Bitcoin for the proceeds of his house. And this could be, you could do it a couple different ways here. You could either take a portion of the proceeds, put it towards the new down payment in a house. You could take the proceeds and give yourself a couple years to rent and pay out of the proceeds and then eventually buy a house. Or you could just turn around and buy it right away. Take out a new mortgage. But I love that strategy. I love that strategy. And me personally, this is something I've been thinking a lot about. But I don't really ever plan to pay off my mortgage. Because what's the point? If you can get cheap lending rates, like let's say 3%, 4%, 5%, and you can, instead of paying off that mortgage, you can buy assets that appreciate faster, that's a win. The world has this fascination with trying to pay off their mortgage so they can feel like they own something. But the reality is that you never actually own your house, ever. Even when it's fully paid off, you never own your house. And if you don't believe me, try missing a property tax payment for 2 years and see if you still own your house. So the idea there is that you lend at lower rates, 2, 3, 4, 5%. That's your expense. That's your outflow. And you take that, what you otherwise would have made as a mortgage payment or paying off your house, and you invest that in assets like Bitcoin that have historically performed higher than 3, 4, 5%. So that's the spread that you want to capture there. And again, going back to just the way we're wired, we've been taught to kind of like pay off our mortgage. That's like the number one goal in people's lives that they have. Because again, they want to feel like they own it. But the reality is that they're never going to own it. So what's the point of paying it off? You're just losing. That's an opportunity cost. So that's kind of my thoughts on houses and Bitcoin. And that's the other thing too, is like a lot of people, when the price was running up, they're trying to get loans to buy more Bitcoin with. But why would you put your Bitcoin up as collateral to get a loan to buy more Bitcoin? Why not just use your house? If you have equity in your house, get a line of credit against it. Or get like a good faith loan from a bank and buy Bitcoin with it. Why would you risk your Bitcoin as collateral? Different if you need it. Different if you have like a major expense you need to pay for and you have no other way of getting it. But I always thought that the strategy of lending against your Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin, kind of scary. Because again, you're putting up the best collateral, and there's a chance you lose it. And that's just not a risk that me personally, I want to take. So anyways, Scotty Boy with a couple zaps. Zap, zap, zap. 99 sats. Thank you, my friend. He said, Scotty, zap 99 twice if you think now is a great time to buy Bitcoin. So should we buy our Bitcoin? Is that what you're saying, Scotty? You're talking in code. Does that mean we should do our DSA today? David T's over in Nostra. Good morning, David T. Okay, while we wait for Scotty's response here, let's check on the network. Oh, not a whole lot of action over on the network today. One block. One was just mined. Wow, this is lots to examine here today. Lots to examine. So we'll maybe start off with the block height here. 938,142. And I know this is kind of not, this is no knowledge to a lot of people here, but honestly, it probably took me at least 2 years to kind of learn all these different details around Bitcoin. I was buying it. I was looking at the price, but I really had no idea what was going on behind the scenes and how any of this worked. Truly. That's a confession for everybody on YouTube. And so what I want to do with these lessons is I want to try to save people the pain and the loss that I experienced in Bitcoin, because I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't have anybody to guide me through it. I had nobody to teach me this kind of stuff. When I got into Bitcoin, everybody was really focused on like the technology, the crypto, the altcoins. What's going to outperform Bitcoin? What's the next Bitcoin? What can I turn $50 into next month? So this information may have been available. I was just, it didn't show up in front of me. So I want to try to change that for people, whoever's tuning into the shows and to the channels here. But this is the block height, 938,142. That means that there's been 938,142 blocks mined since January 3rd, 2009. And that's going to be important because what we're talking about today in our lesson is we're actually going to check on the mempool here, and we're going to tie this into our analogy today. So that's the block height. You can see the winner of the last block here, the last 2 blocks, last 3 blocks. Foundry got a turkey. 3 blocks in 5 minutes. Wow. Have a day. Have a day, Foundry. So they just made about 10 Bitcoin there in 5 minutes. You can click into this and you can see what they got. They get the subsidy of 3.125 Bitcoin every block. That's the fixed amount per epoch. Obviously, when we have a halving, this cuts in half. But the subsidy, 3.125 Bitcoin plus the transaction fees for a total of 3.127 Bitcoin. So they hit 3 blocks of at least 3.125 Bitcoin in 5 minutes. Wow. Foundry. Save some for the rest of us. Okay. And then if we zoom out a little bit here, we can see the difficulty adjustment, which has been a pretty big topic, I guess, in the Bitcoin circles for anybody who cares about this kind of stuff. But last week we had a huge difficulty upwards adjustment. You can see here. The previous one was 15% upwards. I don't know if it was top 10, but I think it was the 10th largest upwards adjustment. I think. Could be wrong. Don't quote me there, but let me get this banner off the screen. But 15% upwards. So usually when that happens, you see a lot of miners turning off because it's harder. When the difficulty adjustment goes up, it's harder for the miners to find blocks. It's more challenging. And so a lot of miners, when there's going to be a big difficulty upwards adjustment, they'll just turn off because they're like, well, it doesn't make sense, especially with a low Bitcoin price that we have right now. Because that's the miners' incentives. It's all based on Bitcoin. That's what they get paid. That's their revenue source. So when the price is down, obviously their revenue is down as well because they have to sell a lot of their Bitcoin to pay for their electricity bills. So very positive sign here, I would say, the fact that we had a 15% upwards adjustment and we're still ahead right now. That's very positive in terms of security, network security strength. And as you can see here, there's not a whole lot of Bitcoin transactions being sent right now. There's 4,900 in this block. And there's 4,200 in this one. So basically, every time you send a Bitcoin transaction on layer 1, the first place it goes is the mempool, this left side of the dotted line here. This is where your transaction will sit until a miner picks up that transaction and puts it into a block. So when you send a Bitcoin transaction, it basically just sits there in no man's land, where it's not spendable by you anymore because you sent it, and it's also not spendable by whoever you sent it to there. Via BTC, wow. Back to back. They said, you know what? I don't care about putting transaction fees. Not worth my time. I'm just going to take the 3.125 Bitcoin back to back. Imagine that, 6 Bitcoin in 2 seconds. Nice work there via BTC. So whenever you send a Bitcoin transaction, this is where it goes. Mempool. And then as soon as a miner like via BTC takes your transaction, puts it into their block design, then your transaction is confirmed. It's put into a block. And once it's confirmed, that's when it's spendable by whoever you sent it to. So that's the mempool today. You guys are going to love this analogy I'm going to share today. It was, what do we got here? Mt. Gox doomsday. On this day in 2014, the one-time largest Bitcoin exchange in the world suspended trading and went permanently offline. Wow, in case you need a reminder to get your Bitcoin off the exchanges, slapping you in the face. There's a famous saying I'm sure everybody here has heard of, not your keys, not your coins, or not your keys, not your cheese. And that has to do with the private keys. So whatever Bitcoin exposure you have to ask yourself, do you hold the private keys to that Bitcoin? And if not, then somebody else is holding them for you. And in this case, Mt. Gox, a lot of people trusted Mt. Gox to hold their Bitcoin. And it turned out just like FTX, they didn't actually have the Bitcoin. So something to be aware of, not something you want to rush into, but it definitely should be on everybody's priority list, is getting your Bitcoin into self-custody. So here we go. Probably in the next 1 or 2 shows here, we're going to have 20 million Bitcoin mined. And this is also going to tie into our analogy today. So keep this number in mind here. 20 million Bitcoin have been mined. And I'll give a little bit of a preview for it today, just for the people who are going to stick around for the whole show. You'll have a better concept of it, I guess. So the 21 million Bitcoin, or approximately 21 million Bitcoin that everybody is aware of, those Bitcoin already exist. They've already been added into the Bitcoin software, the code. 20 million of those coins have been released, essentially. So every block, if we go back to the mempool here, every block, so you can see this block right here only has 1 transaction in it. And that 1 transaction is the transaction that's inside of every block, which is the Coinbase transaction. Right here, the newly generated coins. So this is how new Bitcoin are essentially added into the supply. So all these Bitcoin already exist. They already exist. It's just that every block, or approximately every 10 minutes, those newly generated coins are added to the supply. So they get paid to the miner of that block. In this case was via BTC. So 21 million Bitcoin already exist. It's just that every block, there's newly generated coins, and those get added to the Bitcoin supply. So you can see that the total circulating supply here right now is 19.99 million Bitcoin. And again, over the next couple of weeks here, this is going to hit 20 million Bitcoin. Pretty significant milestone. So for the first 17 years in Bitcoin, there was 20 million Bitcoin mined, 95% of the supply. And then for the next 110 years or 120 years, there's only 1 million Bitcoin left to be mined. So 95% for the first 17 years and 5% for the next 120 years. That's how the halving works, because it keeps cutting in half. The newly generated coins, every block, those keep getting cut in half every 210,000 blocks. What you can see here in this visual is going to happen in, it's this thick yellow line here. So the next halving is going to happen in 111,000 blocks. That's when the subsidy will get cut in half, from 3.125 Bitcoin to 1.56 Bitcoin. And it keeps cutting in half. That's why there's only 5% left for these next 120 years. So the exchange rate today, we don't pay much attention to that, but we do pay attention to this one, the sats per dollar. So if you have $1 today, $1 US, you can get yourself 1,569. Nice. 1,569 sats. In other words, you can trade 1 unit of trash for 1 unit of absolute scarcity. You can trade 1 unit of the worst money in human history, the worst. The digital fiat dollar is the worst money that humans have ever had. Why? Because it takes zero energy, zero cost to produce. Back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s even, there was at least a cost to produce money. They had to grow trees, they had to convert those trees into bills, they had to mine precious metals, turn those into coins. It actually had a little bit, even though it wasn't really backed by anything, it still took a little bit of work to make those dollars. Today, though, we have digital dollars, which have zero cost of production. So you can trade today 1 unit of the worst money in human history for 1,568 units of the world's best money. The scarcest, most precious, energy-backed, best money that humans have ever seen. Pretty good trade. I think it should be reversed. I think you should have to pay 1,568 units of trash for 1 unit of sovereignty, 1 unit of scarcity, 1 unit of energy. So there's the time chain. What do we got for our gold price today? 12. Wow, this just keeps dropping for us. Sad. But again, like I said last week, if you look at this chart and you understand Bitcoin, you understand gold, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen next year. There was a good analogy on Nostr this week. Somebody said, what was it now? Basically said, right now we're at the point, like we just consumed some psychedelics 30 minutes ago and everybody's wondering if they're going to kick in or not. And then it said, some of us know what happens next. So there's a lot of people out there who can't see what comes next. They've never been through this before. And so they might actually, in that analogy, they might actually take a couple more gummies because they don't think it's going to happen. They don't think it's going to work. But if you've been there before, you know what comes next. And looking at this chart, most people would say, wow, that's pretty gross graphic. But to me, again, we know what comes next here. We know what comes next because that's 6 months, yes. But let's look at 10 years. Let's look at all time. That's a pretty big drop. And we've had a couple of big drops before in history here. A couple of very big drops, abrupt drops. But what happens? It keeps coming back. Bitcoin's the only asset in human history. Do you guys know this? Bitcoin's the only asset in human history that has dropped, I think it's more than 80%, and came back to an all-time high 4 times. 4 times it's happened. So when people say like Bitcoin's like Beanie Babies or a tulip craze, you can tell that they don't have any idea what they're talking about, because tulips, Beanie Babies, they went up. They went up and up and up and up and up, and then the bubble popped. And it never recovered from there. That's a bubble. That's a true bubble. But with Bitcoin, this has happened 4 times where it's dropped. I forget, it might be 80% drop, and then has recovered to new all-time highs. It's happened 4 times. No asset in human history has done that before. 4 times. Another fun fact is that any asset that has reached $2 trillion in a market cap has never disappeared. And if you subscribe to the theory as I do, that Bitcoin's either going to 0 or it's going to $1 trillion. Sailor says a million, but $1 million is a joke. That's kind of where the Bitcoin starts in my opinion. So it's going to 0 or it's going to $1 trillion. There's no in between. There's no in between. So to me, with that in mind, I don't think it's ever going to go to 0. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to go much, 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 much higher. So there we go. There's a state of the network this week. Wow, look at this. Mav21, my man. Good crew over in Noster today. Mav21 zapped 10,000 units of freedom. Mav21, absolute stud on Noster. 10,000 units of freedom and says, never been more bullish. There's a guy who's been here. Mav21 and myself just took some gummies, and we've taken them before. We know what comes next. We're not taking any more. We're not taking any more edibles. We know what happens next. Scotty Boy says, still 4-digit buys today. Not a bad time. True. Never a bad time. Okay, so let's get to her here. Let's get to her here. Okay, I missed a rant over on Rumble. Sats and Sunset zapped $2. I should say he sent a fiat zap of $2 over on Rumble, and he put some Z's. So he's sleeping. So anyways, sweet dreams, and thank you for the support. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to go through this lesson, and then we're going to talk about a couple other things. Actually, I want to share one thing here first. I want to share one thing here first, because I mentioned about 10 minutes ago that I'm going to open up a little orange pill idea to people. I'm going to open up for 10 people within the community here. So if you're watching this today, you have a slight advantage there. But what my idea is I want to help people orange pill their friends and family. But I wanted to share this because this came across the airwaves today over on Rumble. And this is from our guy Praetorian here, a silver whale over on Rumble. So let me bring this up, and we're going to read this because I think this is a great story to share. Hope you don't mind, Praetorian, but you put it on the internet, so I figured it's not a private thing. But Praetorian said, Jory, you spoke of connectors in this episode. From the short amount of time I've been a part of the community, you gave me the best tool I've used so far. 21 Lessons by Gigi. So that's actually the book that inspired this whole series that we're doing here, 21 Lessons by Gigi. He said, I live in a small tourist town in the US with over 1 million visitors per year. I've handed my personal book to 3 business owners so far in the past 6 months, and all of them have started mining and purchasing Bitcoin after reading it. I also have asked them to sign the back pages of the book with their business names, which I plan to give to the Township Historical Museum in about 20 years. Thank you for sharing insightful knowledge. Kind regards, Praetorian. So how great is that story? Not just the book, but just the fact that he's out there in the community, in his own community. That's pretty cool, man. I love that. And I think that we spend a lot of time in our day focusing on what's going on in Washington, D.C., or in Ottawa, or in London. But the reality is, who cares? Who cares? The cool thing about Bitcoin is you can completely opt out of that system. And what we should be more focused on ourselves is our communities, our families, and ourselves. Ourselves here, not only adding as much value as we can to the world and storing that value in Bitcoin, but helping other people who want to learn and having the right mindset. Because without the right mindset, even people who get really rich in Bitcoin, it's not going to last. It's not going to be a lasting thing for your family. If you're not ready for wealth, it's not going to last. And so this is important. This is part of the community here. This is a guy, one of the biggest supporters of the channel here, and he's doing some great work. So I want to give a shout out to Praetorian today on the weekly show here. So there you go, Praetorian. Good, great work there, brother. Great work. Okay, 88 lessons. What are we talking about today? So this is number 18 today. It's going to be a fun one. This is going to be one that you want to bookmark, I think. The last couple have been really good. The last couple we've done here have been really good. So let's go through this here. Oh shit, I forgot to do something. Okay, we're going to have to stall here for a couple minutes while I get this together. Sorry, folks. Whoa, what happened there? Background color, no fill. Okay, there we go. Okay, I got to do this quickly here. Someone, I'll go through a couple comments right now, I guess, while I'm doing this. How about that? Because we've kind of been running out of time for questions at the end. So if you do have a specific question that you want answered, for sure, you can send a zap. Although I don't know if, I'll get that one. You can send a super chat. You can send a rant over on Rumble. That'll be the only way to guarantee your question gets addressed. Oh, wow. We got 3 emails already for the orange pill. All right. I wasn't sure how that was going to be received. Cool. Okay. So let's catch up on a couple chats here. Working on my parents is going to take some time. Well, send them my way. See what happens. Making lots of progress orange pilling in my church, Orthodox church. Nice. Very nice. Marco's here. Good morning, Marco. I cannot just tell them. I have to show and tell them as time goes on. Trent says, didn't you tell them you were one of the people on the internet? They don't see it the same. 21 Sats Street. Kev, good morning. Kryptoni says, Cash App already screwed me on that in 2020. On what happened? They rugged you? Gronky Tonk Man in the house. Good morning, Gronky Tonk Man. Good to see you, my friend. Daddy-O says, I'd personally be stupid to pay off my 4% mortgage. That's what I mean. Okay, VHF. I have not pulled the trigger yet, but my strategy is to sell house, buy Bitcoin with the equity, wait 5 or 10 years, then decide whether to buy and build or continue to rent. It's a good strategy, man. May just rent for the remainder of my life. I'm going to own something for sure. I'll probably own multiple. We'll see. Probably not. I'm definitely never going to sell the property that I'm on right now. This is one I've wanted to own since I was a young Jor. I love it here. Look at this place. Look at this freaking place. How could you beat that? If only we had some adults running this country, it'd be a lot better. But anyways, we'll fight through it. We can't pay attention to them. On top of stacking sats daily, I've started buying Stretch, BTCI, and a few other dividend yielding stocks to pay my monthly bills with dividends. Internet is already being paid via dividends. Oh, nice. Thoughts? I've thought about that strategy myself. And I would rather just own, and this is what I have done. It's not what hypothetical, but I would much rather just own Bitcoin. I don't like trusting other people. I don't trust the system right now. I think that there's going to be a big collapse. And again, I could be wrong about this. Do not take this as gospel here, as I know you don't, but just to be sure. I think the world's going to get caught with its pants down here. And I think that the only thing worth value here will be just because of where we are right now. This won't be a long-term thing. But I think based on where we are right now, there's going to be pretty much 2 things of value, which is Bitcoin and cold storage, Bitcoin and self-custody, and precious metals, something like gold or silver. I think everything else is just going to be rinsed. Everything else is just a complete... I don't know, but I also think that I'm torn. Because the optimist in me says that Bitcoin's the bridge. Without Bitcoin, there would have been total collapse. Like if Bitcoin didn't exist, we just would have went into complete chaos, like doomsday apocalypse kind of vibes. And then in that case, Bitcoin would survive, gold would survive, and other useful resources in your life, food, water, lead. But I think that Bitcoin's actually going to prevent that from happening. I think it's going to be kind of the cushion needed for that system to all be sucked up into. But with that being said, I don't know. I would just rather trust myself to hold my private keys than somebody else hold my wealth for me. And I think that you're kind of limiting yourself, especially where we are right now in the cycle, to be holding something like a stretch, which pays 10% dividends, yes, but you don't get the upside that you get with Bitcoin. We're at a very, very close to a bottom here, I think, in Bitcoin. And I have no idea what comes next. I think it's gonna make people's heads explode of how, the swing backwards. And I just wouldn't want to have my investment money anywhere else. So I still go with the strategy, Bitcoin Cash. Everything else is just kind of a distraction. So if it's working for you, that's one thing. But I don't know. I just think people who are in that position right now are going to regret not being on the upwards slope of Bitcoin. I don't mind the strategy. If we hit another all-time high, maybe we get to, let's say, $500,000 Bitcoin, then I would consider something like this too. But where we are right now in Bitcoin, like in terms of the exchange rate, I don't think it makes sense to hold anything other than Bitcoin in self-custody. Just my thoughts, though. Just my thoughts, of course. Okay, so here we go. Let's get to the lesson today. It's going to be a good one. Then actually, so it's funny because I think we shared a video on Maple Bitcoin last week, and somebody left a comment and said, where can I find this analogy? The post office analogy. And it was on one of my videos. I don't even know if it's on my channel or if it was in the 365 days of Bitcoin or where it was. But anyways, I remember it because I had forgot this analogy. And this analogy here actually helped me a lot to understand how Bitcoin works. But so I'm going to share that today. So I did a video on Bitcoin School talking about it, our daily Bitcoin show that we do, Bitcoin School. But I wanted to do like a deeper dive into it today with some visualizations. So it's going to be kind of next level. Even if you've heard the Bitcoin post office analogy, I think this is going to be a good one for you today. Okay, so the title today, this analogy, the post office analogy, changed my view of Bitcoin. We're going to shout a couple people out here. GG, number one. 21 lessons. The book was inspired, was written by GG and inspired this series here that we're doing called 88 Lessons. So great book, great guy, one of the best Bitcoiners in history. GG. Michael Saylor said this: people spend 100,000 hours of their life earning money. The least they should spend is 100 hours learning how to keep it. So that's what kind of spawned the idea for this course, or 88 lessons. So my idea with this is I want to make this information free. I want to leave it on my channel. I want to have it as a resource for you to send in your friends and family when they're ready, right? Don't just cold call them and say, hey, watch this series. But when somebody comes to you and says, hey, I want to learn more about Bitcoin, this is the resource that I want you to share with them. This playlist from YouTube, 88 lessons, everything that they need to know about Bitcoin overall, the mindset, the security, the management, understanding, conviction, everything. I want everything part of this 88 lesson series here. So that was kind of inspired by both GG and Michael Saylor. And the third shout out here is you, whoever's watching this today. You're taking time out of your day here because you understand what's at stake. Simply, we are first generation Bitcoiners here, just like first generation farmers, where they showed up and started working the land and never had the idea to sell that land. They had the idea to acquire more land. And they had a big responsibility. They had to get things off the ground. They had to pass down the family values to make sure that no matter who came down the road, they were never going to sell this land and they were always going to keep it in the family. And I like thinking about Bitcoin the exact same way. So shout out to you, those who are here today, for taking that on. It's a large responsibility. And I just want to say thanks and shout out to you for being here. So we had quite a few members join the last 7 days for our Bitcoin school. We had Edward Cullen. We had Brian King. We had Eternally Mobile. We had Leo Orion. And we had a new one today, Daddy-O, courtesy of Sats and Sunsets. So those are our new members. And just in case you aren't aware, if you join the YouTube channel as a member, you get access to a video every day. I post a video on Bitcoin School every day, and I've also been sharing that for private members on YouTube. So anybody who's a member on YouTube gets a daily video talking about a different topic within Bitcoin. So if you want to become more knowledgeable, if you want to grow your conviction and understanding of Bitcoin, but you don't really care about being part of a community, then that's probably the best route for you, because it's cheaper. It's cheaper than joining the school platform, but you still get all the videos. You just don't get to interact with other Bitcoiners. So it's a good option. If you want to save a little bit of money, but still want to learn, you can join the YouTube channel as a member on there. Pretty easy to do. I think you just click join beside my name and it'll prompt you to sign up. Sponsors, we have no sponsors and therefore no filter. I think it's not only important, but imperative that whoever's talking to you about money of any way, personal finance, they shouldn't be influenced by anybody. And that's one of the biggest problems I have with certain financial advisors who, for the last 20 years, have got a lot of business, who have got pretty fat, you might say, on the backs of the working class. And my biggest beef with them is that they don't sell the best products. They sell the products that are going to make them the most money. And there's a lot of Bitcoiners and a lot of crypto influencers on YouTube who are telling you which products to use based on the referral fee that they get for it, or whoever's paying them the most to talk about it. And so my strategy is a little bit different. I talk about what I use, and that's it. I don't have any sponsors. Nobody's paying me. And therefore, I'm able to say what I want, talk about what I want, and I don't have any sort of influence over my voice, which I think is important. So with that in mind, the way that we keep the lights on here is through the community, both donations, members signing up. That's on school, that's on the YouTube channel, and that helps keep things going here. So we're not going to have any sponsors. That was my promise from day one, is that I didn't want to have any sponsors on the show, because I knew, I've seen it happen before, where people are getting thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars per month, and they're promoting products and exchanges and services that are just crap, but they're making a good living off it. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be like everybody else. And so I took a different route. Game plan today, we're going to go through the lesson. If there's any good questions in the chat, we'll get through those. We're going to do our weekly smash buy. We do every week, buy some Bitcoin, and we're going to give away some free Bitcoin. So that's it. Bitcoin Citadel, if you're somebody who has a lot of Bitcoin or a significant stack of Bitcoin, you want better protection, you want a little security audit, you want to get a multi-sig set up, you want to get your backups encrypted, bitcoincitadel.net. We got 7 very, very knowledgeable Bitcoin educators over there. And I think when the price starts turning around here, they're going to be very busy. And I'm part of that business. I'm part of that company, bitcoincitadel.net. And I wanted to share this too. Where are we here on the, oh, it's not what we want. Where are we here on the, what did I want to share there? Oh, the school. So I'll probably share this again at some point here, but look at this. This is our Bitcoin school community here. There's Bitcoiners from all over the world. We got someone living out in the Pacific Ocean. We got someone living in the Atlantic Ocean. We got a couple people on the prison island over here, Australia. We got a lot of people in North America, obviously. But look at this. We got a lot of people in the UK and Europe, Ukraine. So there's people from all around the world in this community, and this is growing every single week here. We've been going nowhere but up. I think there's been one person canceled in the last 6 months from this community. So clearly people are getting value from it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sticking around. And part of that value comes in the form of Bitcoin School. So I just talked about the course, which starts officially on March 15th. And I'm going to have a little bit of info for anybody who wants to join. So don't join yet. I got a cool little promotion here for the month of February, which is almost over. But you get a video every day. So these videos have all been posted fresh in 2026. We started on December 31st even. We had day 0. And a lot of stuff about security, private keys, UTXOs, the network itself, Lightning Network, the main net, the test net, mining. And we got about 300 more days to go still. 330 days. No. What are we at today? 54. So these are all included in your membership on school. So it's pretty good return, I would say. So you get the access to all the members there, the community, you get the classroom, and you can see all the different courses. These are all included in the being a member in there. Bitcoin School, resources, the course, multi-generational wealth course, very underrated course. Cold Card Masterclass basically walks you through setting it up. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that there's not tens of thousands of people in this community, but it's just where we are today. So that's a Bitcoin School. And let's get her going. Let's get her started today. So welcome to, what do we need here? Do I have everything? I'm going to make a drink first. I'm going to mix a little drink. We got raspberry salt today. I probably go through 2 of these a day. I usually have a lemonade and then something else. I like raspberry, citrus. Watermelon's okay. Orange is good, but lemonade's my favorite one. Element. Okay, let's get her going. I'm a professional mixer. Okay, so again, throughout the, we're going to go through the lesson here. I'm guessing it'll probably take about half an hour. And then if we have any time at the end, we'll go through some questions in the chat. If you have any comments, concerns. I don't know how long the lesson's going to be today. Sorry for the headphone people out there. Had somebody telling me that I shouldn't be drinking things close to the mic. So how about shaking it right beside the mic? Okay, we're ready. All right, here we go. Lesson number 18, talking about the post office analogy. This analogy changed my view of Bitcoin. And this is a question I get a lot. I do a lot of one-on-one sessions with people. And one of the most common, if not the most common question that people ask is, where's the Bitcoin stored? So I helped them set up something like this, the cold card. I thought I had one kicking around here. Oh, you got a little MK4 here. Haven't seen one of these in a while. Little MK4. But we set this up and we set up the Sparrow or the companion app with it. And so they're kind of confused in terms of where the Bitcoin is. Is it in here? Is it on Sparrow? Is it on my Aqua wallet? Where's the Bitcoin being stored right now? And it's hard to conceptualize because it's nothing that's physical, right? And this took me a lot of time to actually understand myself. And so I figured this analogy today, the post office analogy, would be a really good way to conceptualize how the Bitcoin network works. So the post office analogy, I'm going to show you a couple different visualizations here, hopefully that will help get things started. So I want you to think about this. And again, I'm going to have some pictures here, some visualizations for you to help with it. But I want you to think about this. I want you to think about walking into a post office. What you walk through the door. And I know there's a lot of people around the world. Post offices might look slightly different there. But the idea, there's a bunch of mail slots. And you walk into this room and you're looking around. And it looks like a normal post office, except one thing's different. Instead of the doors on the slots, it's glass. It's fully transparent. So you're looking at this post office, you're looking around, and you can see all the different mail slots. And you can see all the contents within those mail slots. Because that's essentially what happens here. Bitcoin never leaves that post office. So let's start with that. The Bitcoin never leaves the post office. It doesn't go into this device. It doesn't go into my cold card. It doesn't go into Sparrow. It never leaves the post office. Okay? So think about it this way. Think about it this way. If we have a visualization here, this is kind of what it looks like. So here's one. There's one way to look at it. So you can see the glass, bulletproof glass. No, everybody can see what's in it, except nobody can take it. Nobody can open it up. Unless, of course, you have the key to it. So here's another view. We got a full 360-degree view of the Bitcoin post office here. Thanks to Venice AI for this. So you can see each slot has different contents in it, and you can see them all. You can see each mail slot here. And there's going to be one more here we're looking at. So this is kind of just to help with the visualization of thinking about this Bitcoin post office. So you walk into it, all the slots are transparent. They're made of bulletproof glass. Nobody can get in them, but you can see everything that's inside of them. So then if we go back to the mempool, here, let's go like this. I'll kind of explain what this means. So you can actually go back yourself. And the reason why the windows and the slots are glass and transparent is because that's how Bitcoin is. The Bitcoin never moves. It's just recorded on a ledger. And so if we go back to the Genesis block here back from 2009, this was the very first Bitcoin block that was mined. Okay, so there's a couple different things here. We're going to start with this, but you can see every transaction that's happened since 2009, which means it's very transparent. Anybody can see it. And I'm going to show you another example here. So let's go to block height of 400,000. Within each block here, you can see every single transaction that happened. You also see who mined the block, which in this case was BW Pool. You can see that they got this Coinbase transaction here. So this Coinbase transaction, this is newly generated coins. So I'm going to talk about why Bitcoin is very much in line with nature, and it has to do with this, the newly generated coins. So remember this, keep this in mind here as we go through the lesson. These newly generated coins. So this Coinbase transaction, nothing to do with the company itself. That's what this is called. The Coinbase transaction is newly generated Bitcoin. So these are the Bitcoin that are added to the supply, every block. And each one here, you can see all the transactions that happened inside of all the blocks. So right here, what does this mean? This transaction here means that this address right here sent Bitcoin, 19 million sats, to this address. Okay? So when we're thinking about that from the post office analogy here, what happened there? This mail slot, somebody went into this mail slot here. This is the address. So this is public information. This would be like box number 50 or box number 5055 in the post office. So this is kind of like the slot. This is the box. It's the public address, the receive address. So this is transparent to anybody. Just like, think about it this way. If you wanted to receive mail from somebody, what would you provide them with? Your home address. And it's the same kind of thing. So this is what you share with other people if you want them to send you Bitcoin. So this is all public. And so basically what happened here in this transaction is 19 million units went from this mailbox to this mailbox, mail slot. What happened in this one? Holy, this was a lot of Bitcoin here. 4.8 Bitcoin left this mailbox. 1.5 Bitcoin left this mail slot, and 27 million sats left this mail slot. And they went into these mail slots here. So a couple things to note here while we're looking at this is you notice how nobody's name's attached to this. Just like in the post office, it doesn't say George's mail slot here. It just says my number. It just says my box number. And it's the exact same as this. This doesn't have my name on it or whoever sent this Bitcoin. It doesn't have their name on it. It just has their mail slot. So it left this mail slot and it went into these ones here. So it's pseudonymous, which means that it's transparent, but there's no actual names attached to it. It's all done by the addresses here. And you also notice that Bitcoin never left anywhere. Like it doesn't say that it's held in this device in this location or wherever. It just moved from this mail slot to this mail slot. That's all that happened there. And so when you think about Bitcoin as a post office here, the Bitcoin never leaves the post office, right? So if we look at this representation here. I put this together this morning. Pretty nice. So this is the post office. And basically what happens when one of those transactions is confirmed is Bitcoin will move this slot and go into this slot. And then this from this one to this slot. And then from this one to this one, but it never leaves the post office. The Bitcoin never leaves the post office because it's just a transparent shared ledger that everybody can see. So it never leaves the post office here. But why is there a truck here? Why is there a truck sitting there? So approximately every 10 minutes, this truck drives by. And the truck throws new Bitcoin into the post office. It throws new Bitcoin in. The Bitcoin never leaves there. It never leaves the post office, but new Bitcoin are added to the post office every 10 minutes on average, or every time there's a new block. Why? Because of this Coinbase transaction. That's what this is. This Coinbase transaction here is the truck driving by and putting Bitcoin into the post office. And where does it go? It goes right here into this mail slot. So the Bitcoin never leaves the post office, but new coins are added every 10 minutes by that truck. So the truck drives by, throws some new Bitcoin into here. And let's say that last address we saw there was this one. Let's say that mail slot is right here. So the truck drives by, the door opens up, and the Bitcoin goes right into that mail slot. All right? That happens every 10 minutes. So that's the analogy here. That's the Bitcoin post office. And a couple different ways to think about this. So when you're looking at this, what does this mean? So number one, it means that Bitcoin is very in line with nature. Why? Because just like, I don't know if it was Tesla that said this. He was the one who got credit for this quote. But the law of conservation of energy suggests that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's only transferred, right? And that's what's happening here. Think about the post office as a bunch of energy in there, and it never leaves the post office. It's only transferred from one mail slot to another. Never leaves. And there's every 10 minutes, the door opens up and new Bitcoin comes in. So you might say, well, Jor, that doesn't really make sense because Bitcoin's being created there. No, it's not. And kind of what we started the live stream talking about today was the sense that the 21 million Bitcoin that everybody's familiar with, it already exists. It's existed since January 3rd, 2009, or I guess from the white paper, when the code was originally written and when the software was released. I think it was, what was it, 2008 or 2009? I think Satoshi released the software 5 or 6 days after he mined the first block back in 2009. So ever since then, the 21 million Bitcoin have been created. They already exist. The only thing that happens every 10 minutes is that they get transferred to somebody. They get put into the supply. So right now, if you think about where we are today, if we go back to our time chain calendar, this is another good way to think about it here. So you can see that the total supply today, even though we know that the total supply that will ever exist is 21 million Bitcoin, approximately. But at this point so far, there's been basically 938,149 trucks, drive-bys, essentially. That's what it is. Right? So every time there's a new block, there's new Bitcoin, not created, but mined, found, put into supply. So there's been 938. Oh, we just hit another one. Another truck just drove by and put 10, no, not 10. What would it be? They got 3.134 Bitcoin added to the supply. So that's perfect timing. Thank you, Foundry, for mining that block. So the truck drove by. They put 3.134 Bitcoin into the post office, and that went into Foundry's mailbox. It doesn't say Foundry on it. It just has their receive address that they have, their mail slot. It went into one of Foundry's mail slots. So this 3.1, it would have been the subsidy of the newly created Bitcoin here, 3.125 Bitcoin. And then the transaction fees for all the transactions that were included in that block, Foundry also gets those fees for a total of 3.134 Bitcoin. So you say, okay, well, 21 million Bitcoin, that's how many Bitcoin will ever exist. But right now, there's just under 20 million Bitcoin in supply, in circulating supply. So that means that trucks for the last 17 years, these trucks have driven by and put 20 million Bitcoin approximately into the post office. And so when you think about it this way, then this truck still has 1 million Bitcoin in the back of it. And it's going to keep driving by every 10 minutes and throwing more of that Bitcoin into the post office. And the way that Bitcoin works because of the halving is that 20 million Bitcoin were added to supply in the first 17 years. So think about that. 20 million Bitcoin were put into supply in the first 17 years, which means that for the next 120 years, there's only 1 million Bitcoin left to be mined. So we look in the back of this truck here, there's only 1 million Bitcoin left. There's 1 million Bitcoin in here, and there's 1 million Bitcoin. There's 20 million Bitcoin in the post office already from prior trips. And there's 1 million Bitcoin in the back of this truck that get put into here. So when you think about it that way, it makes a lot more sense. And I'm going to explain what you need to know about this to make it make even more sense. But hopefully everybody's with me so far. So again, why is Bitcoin in line with nature? Why is it in line with the laws of the universe? Because it's not transferred or destroyed. It's not created nor destroyed. It's only transferred. So if I wanted to send a Bitcoin transaction right now to Lauren, what would happen? If I wanted to send some Bitcoin to Lauren, what would this look like? Does it have anything to do with the truck? No. So what would happen here is if I wanted to send Bitcoin to Lauren, let's say this is my mail slot right here. So I would go to it. I would walk over to it. I walk in the door. I go to my mail slot. I open the key to it, or I open the door to it, and I take my Bitcoin and I move it over here. This is where Lauren's slot is, one of his slots. Again, we don't know it's Lauren's, but we just know the slot number, which Lauren has shared with me. So he sends me his slot number here. And so the Bitcoin moves from here to here. It doesn't leave and go to my device. It doesn't leave and go to Lauren's house. It doesn't go anywhere. It just goes from my mail slot to Lauren's mail slot. And so the thing that makes everything work here, kind of what we went back to here, the transparent nature of this, is you can look at, and I'll show you here in a second, but you can look at every single slot in here. You can see the contents of it. You can't get to them, but you can see them. And that's why this glass is destruction proof, bulletproof. You can't tamper with it. The only way to take those contents out of there is if you have the private key to it, if you have your key. So that's how I want you to think about your private key, just like your mail key. It's the same idea, right? Because if you think about like how actual mail works, again, if somebody wanted to send me mail, I would provide them with my box number. So anybody can put contents into these. If somebody had my box number, they could put as much content into that mail slot as possible, as they wanted to. But without the key to that mailbox, they can't go into it and take it out of there. Bitcoin's the exact same. If you had somebody's address, you could send as much content as you wanted into it, but you can't take it out of there. You need the key to it to take it out of there. So when we look at the mempool now, if we go back to the mempool, we can actually see, I'll show you what I mean by the fact that all these mail slots are transparent. So if we go back to, let's say, block, we'll go to block number 1. So you can see here, the very first Bitcoin block was mined in January 3rd, 2009. And then 6 days later, 5 or 6 days later, I think it was 6 days later. So that was the 9th. That was the 3rd. This is the 8th. I think it was 6 days. But this was the second block that was mined. So between here and there, between here and here, that's when Satoshi released the software. for people to start mining Bitcoin. He mined this Bitcoin by himself. He knew that he just wanted to test it out. And so what he did is he actually made these first 50 Bitcoin unspendable because he knew he was going to win the block. He knew that the truck driving by was going to send 50 Bitcoin into the post office and it was going to go into his slot. He knew that because he was the only one mining at the time. So what he did is he made that slot unspendable. He basically put a lock on it and threw away the key. But you can see here, you can see the Coinbase transaction. So the very first one here, and you can see the newly generated coins and where it went to. And so this is why I say this is kind of like the mail slot right here. This is the box number. And you can go into it and see how much Bitcoin is still in there. So there's still 50 Bitcoin in this address. It hasn't moved in 17 years. So think about that. This is how secure the Bitcoin network is. These 50 Bitcoin have been in this mail slot, transparent mail slot, for 17 years. And no person, no technology, no AI, no quantum has been able to move these coins. So even though everybody can see those Bitcoin in there, they can see the contents just like this. You can see what's in there, but you can't move it. Why? Because you don't have the private key to it. You don't have the key to that mail slot. So the 50 Bitcoin are there. They've been there for 17 years. Everybody can see it, but nobody can move it unless they have the private key. And what's the private key? I guess that's the next part here. What's the private key? Well, we spent 3 or 4 episodes talking about it already, but if you have a wallet on your phone, the private key is stored in here. So if somebody has access to your phone and you have a wallet on your phone, they can move Bitcoin to their mail slot because they have the private key. If you have a cold card, where's the private key? It's in the device. It's stored in the device. If you have a Bitcoin wallet on your laptop, where's the private key? It's stored in the laptop. If somebody has access to the laptop, they can move your Bitcoin. They have the key to that Bitcoin. They have the key to that mail slot. And the other way to do it, and this is, I think, where a lot of people are going to get burned in Bitcoin, is that if you had 12 words, I ripped this up because I hate this card because it's too small and it's easy to lose. But if you got your 12 or 24 words written down, this is also a key. If somebody finds your 12 words, they have the key to your mail slot. They can take your contents out of there and they can move it to theirs. So that's what you need to protect. That's what you're protecting. The Bitcoin doesn't go anywhere. It's not really stored in your device. It's the private key that gives you access to it. So if you have the key to a mail slot, you can take the contents out and you can do whatever you want to it. You can't leave you can't leave the post office, but you can take those contents out and you can move it to somebody else's mail slot, or you can move it to another mail slot that you have the key to. Right? Because in this post office, I don't have just one address or one mail slot. I probably have 100, let's say. So I could take, if I have the key to one of my mail slots, I could take the contents out of there and I could put it into one of my other mail slots, which I also have the key to. So I think the most important part of this whole thing is 3 things. And I always say 3 things, then I always forget what I was going to say by the time I get to the third. But let's, I'd say the 3 main takeaways here are that your key, your private key, or recovery phrase, if you have 12 words, that's a vulnerability for somebody to take your key. Your private key moves Bitcoin. That's your ownership of the Bitcoin. If you have the key to that mail slot, you can open that up and you can move the contents to whoever you want to. But the Bitcoin never leaves. It never leaves the post office. Every 10 minutes, on average, new Bitcoin are added into there, the new supply of Bitcoin, the Coinbase transaction. The Coinbase truck drives by, not the company. The Coinbase truck drives by and puts new Bitcoin into somebody's mail slot. That's how new Bitcoin are added to the supply. And so it's neither created nor destroyed, only transferred. So your main goal in Bitcoin, what you need to do here is you need to protect your private key. Because again, if somebody gets your private key, whether that's on your phone, your laptop, your cold card, if somebody can access one of those devices with have a Bitcoin wallet in, they can move your Bitcoin. They can open up your mail slot and move it into their mail slot. Or if somebody finds your 12 words, that's essentially the key to your mail slot. They can open up your mail slot, they can take the contents out of it, and they can put it into theirs. They're not leaving the post office with it, but they're just moving your contents into their mail slot that they have the key to, and you don't. So you need to protect the private key. That's what you need to keep safe. And that could either be in the form of your device, phone, laptop, cold card, or in the form of 12 or 24 words. So if somebody gets access to that, if you have, so think about it this way. Just one last thing here that I want to say. If you think about it this way, this is what happens when you buy Bitcoin on the exchange. The Bitcoin, so let's say that you buy it from River. Let's say you buy Bitcoin from River and you want to take self-custody of that Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin isn't like physically at River's headquarters. They don't send it to you in the mail. It's in their mail slot here, right? They have the key to this mail slot. And so when you buy Bitcoin on River and you take self-custody of that Bitcoin moves from their mail slot into yours, which you have the key to. They don't. And if you look at River's reserves, they have like 20-some thousand Bitcoin in their slot. So that's the contents in Rivers. You can see it, but you can't take it unless you have the private key to that Bitcoin or to that mail slot. So when you buy Bitcoin on River and take self-custody of it, all that's happening here is it's moving from River's mail slot into your mail slot, which you have the key to. That's what you need to protect in the form of a device or in the form of 12 or 24 words. So that's the Bitcoin post office analogy. Consider sharing this. I don't know if I would share this with like new Bitcoiners per se, but somebody who's been in Bitcoin for a while and they're still kind of like unsure of things. And again, kind of what triggered this whole thing is I do a lot of one-on-one sessions with people every week. And one of the most common questions that they ask is, where's the Bitcoin stored? And so I just feel like looking at it through this lens, it totally changes the way you think about Bitcoin itself. And it changes the way the priority you put on securing your private key, because if somebody has your mail slot key, they can take your Bitcoin out of there and put it into their slot. So I think it's a good conceptualization of how Bitcoin works, but also it shows the importance of what you're protecting here, which is your private key. Because if somebody has the key to your mail slot, they can open it up, they take the contents out or the sats, and they put it into their mail slot, which you don't have the key to. So that's the post office analogy. And I want to give a little promo here. So what I noticed in Bitcoin is a lot of people just have no idea how to store their private keys. They know when they set up a wallet, they get their 12 words. That's fine. But I've seen people write it down on here, lose this card, and lose. It was well more than half a Bitcoin. He wrote his 12 words on this exact card. Well, not this exact card, but something to look like this. And he lost it. And he forgot his PIN code to his cold card. So one of his keys was gone. Somebody's going to find that and they're going to be a very happy person because they're going to have the key to that mail slot now. So he lost this and he lost his PIN code to his cold card. So those are your two private keys that you need to protect. The private key inside of this, and you have the PIN to, nobody else has the PIN. So that's how you access your private key. And here's your PIN code. And you have your private key here, the backup of this. So if somebody finds this, they have the key to your mail slot. So you need to protect this. You need to protect this. This more than this, though, because this isn't encrypted. Somebody needs your PIN code to get access to this. They don't need anything. If they find this in the garbage, Somebody can put 12 words into a wallet and essentially now have the key to your Bitcoin. So one thing I noticed is a lot of people, they're okay setting it up. They're okay with everything, writing down their 12, 24 words, but they have no idea where to store it. They have no idea how to think about this stuff. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have a little promotion here, little February promotion. And I shared this last week, and there was a couple people who took advantage of this, new members on the school. But what I'm going to promote, what I'm going to promote here is if you sign up for the Bitcoin School course, which starts March 15th, 2026 officially. There's already, what do we show there? 55 videos in there from this year. I've done a video every single day in 2026, and I've shared it on school. So we can see it right here. Bitcoin School. There's been so far 55 different videos in there. 55. Each video is about 10, 15 minutes long, different topics every day. But the course officially starts on March 15th. So if you sign up in February, you join as a premium annual member on school. You get a free security audit or a free call, free one-on-one with me. So basically you get a free membership. You get a free annual membership on school if you book a call with me. That's essentially what it is. So you can have about 30 minutes. We can talk about what you have for Bitcoin security, and we can make it better. Help you sleep better at night. Help you make sure that your private keys aren't vulnerable anywhere. They're being stored properly. You eliminate your single point of failure. So if something happened to your house, you wouldn't lose your Bitcoin. There's a lot that goes into this. And I think that having a 30-minute call with me would be extremely beneficial to anybody out there who's kind of uncertain of how to store their private keys, how to be thinking about this stuff. And so I want to give you a free security audit. So if anybody signs up for the Bitcoin School course in February, which starts March 15th, which has a free Bitcoin video every day of the year, you also get a free call, free one-on-one with me. So again, you have to join as a premium. If you join as a monthly, it's not going to count, but a premium annual member on school.com/88 sats. And so when you join there, you send me a message, send me a direct message and say, how do I book a call? So you send me a DM on school once you've joined. DM me and say, how do I book a call for February promotion? And then I'll send you a link. You can pick a time that works for you and we'll chat one-on-one. If you kind of got your security in place, but you have another couple questions you want to run by me, you can use that time as well. So that's my promotion here. I guess it's going to be for the next week. So school.com/88 sats. I'll have the link in the pin comment as well for you. And I'll put in the chat right now, just in case anybody wants to join. So I told you not to join at the start of the show today, but with that promotion, if you want to take advantage of that, you can use this this link right here. So we'll save that. Okay, so I think that's what I got for you today. I'm going to be sending out some emails this weekend to anybody who's on the Bitcoin Lightning list. So if you're on that list, you can expect a couple sats going into your Bitcoin mail slot. But other than that, this has been lesson number 18. We got 60 more, I guess 59 more of these now. Is it 60 or 59? I don't know. Anyways, all these are free. All these are available. You can go to the 88 Sats radio channel. You can go to the 88 lessons playlist, and you can see all the episodes that we've done so far. 18 of them. Some very, very important ones, including how to protect your private key are in there. So that's it. For everybody watching on Saturday or the recorded version of this, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great Saturday, a great weekend. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. And for everybody else, we're not going anywhere. Maybe do it like another half hour here, I'd say. We'll see. We'll see what people are doing. So what do we think about that? How do we like that analogy? That's one of my favorite analogies in Bitcoin. David T's up 420 units of freedom. Thank you, David T. Let's get to some questions here. Let's get to some questions. Kev says, since the beginning of the year, I scheduled a payment of $1 for sats every day. Love that. We're going to buy some Bitcoin here right away, actually. We're going to give away some too. What a deal in Japan today. 10,000 freedom units for 9,900 yen. Nice, Scotty boy. We should buy right away, I guess, eh? Paulie says, being a Bitcoiner, you are a lone wolf. Family will ignore you and may never know what you're doing for their future. Living in liberal TikTok, they are blind to the technocratic oppression coming. For real. For real. Yeah, it's concerning to me how many people out there, even though they own Bitcoin, they're not really preparing themselves for what else is coming here. As Paulie called it, technocratic oppression. I think that's an understatement that's coming our way. So Bitcoin's the only thing that frees you from that, in my opinion. It's the only thing you can use to give you absolute freedom. Nobody can take it from you, right? Because if you, even going back to the post office analogy there, government arrests you, cool. They can take your house, they can take the title of it, they can take your gold that you had in your safe, they can take the dollars in your bank account, but unless they have that private key to your mail slot, they cannot take your Bitcoin. And I think that people really underestimate how powerful that is. Because that was their main, and again, I got to be careful what I say here. These are conversations we have every morning. But if you think about it that way, that just shows the power of Bitcoin, the absolute power of Bitcoin. It's the only asset that nobody can take from you. No matter how much force they have, no matter how big of guns they have or tanks or anything, they can't take it from you. Actually, the only way to ensure that they won't get it from you is to kill you. Think about that. I wish I would have put that in the show today. But think about that. If you got 12 words hidden somewhere or in your head or geographically dispersed and somebody wants to take it from you, the government or a thief, the only way to ensure that they will not get your Bitcoin is to kill you. It honestly blows my mind that there's 25 people in here. 25 people on YouTube watching right now. I know YouTube hates me, but I love YouTube. I do. But there should be 25 million people watching this. There should be 25 people who give a shit enough about their family and their personal sovereignty to understand what's going on here. It's crazy to me. But that's why I'm doing this, to help people kind of understand what's going on. Brian King, could you real quick tell me the difference between YouTube School and Maple Bitcoin? Biggest difference would be Bitcoin School is me. Maple Bitcoin is me, Forrest, and Rajat. That's what I would say. So there's a lot of different content. There's Maple Bitcoin has obviously information from Rajat and Forrest. And the school just has information from me. That's the best I can do to explain it. Chuck got 154,000. Wow, for $100. 154,000 units of freedom for $100. Marco spent 50 euros. So I guess we're doing these now. I wasn't ready for this, but I guess we're doing it. Okay, where are we here? 88 lessons. So if you're buying Bitcoin, now is the time. Now is the time. We're going to buy some sats. Okay, and I'm going to do a little quiz. I'm going to do a little quiz, and whoever answers the question correctly first is going to win some sats. We'll say 1,000 sats. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to buy some Bitcoin. Where are we today, Scotty? I think we're down. Geez, the downs are really getting me here. So we're going to buy $21 worth today. We're going to take 21 units of trash, and we're going to turn that into probably what? 26,000 units of the best. No, 20. I don't know what it'll be. We'll see shortly here. 23,000. Okay, so I'm taking $21, 21 units of trash, and trading it for 23,617 units of absolute scarcity, units of freedom, units of sovereignty, units of the best money that humans have ever seen, have ever used before. So $21 for 23,617. And I see some people in the chat buying Bitcoin here too. So if you smash bought today for the week, put how much you spent and how much you got. Put how many units of trash you parted with and how many units of freedom you received. So look at this. We've been doing this every week now since November. So even in January, that same $21 only got me 16,000 sats. Fast forward a month, and I get almost 10,000 more sats. That's incredible. Okay, so February 24th today. I think this was wrong. What was last week? Be the 17th? Yeah. Hey, did you know we did the 17th lesson on the 17th day, and we bought $17 worth of Bitcoin last week? Love that number, 17. It does not matter how much you buy. The only thing that matters is that you buy. All that matters is that you buy. So what I encourage you to do is we actually do this every day. We have a very long spreadsheet of daily buys here, but we do a live stream every day, every morning. We do it on Tuesdays on YouTube as well, but every other day of the week, we do it at 10 a.m. Eastern time here. So it's very easy to find. If you want to join us, you can get caught up with Bitcoin stuff, learn some things, stimulate your mind, and you can be part of our daily buys here. Okay, so that's the WSA. What did people get here today? Alex spent 50 euros and got 91,000 units of freedom here. And keep in mind that every sat that we have is a sat that our enemies do not have. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Victor says, show us the purple cold card queue from the thumbnail. I don't even know where it is. What am I, a monkey here? Just tell me what to do. Do this, Jor. Do this, do this, do this. There it is. We'll replicate the thumbnail. How is it? I love this thing. If you need a cold card, I would recommend getting 2 or 3 of them as soon as you can. That'd be my my best piece of advice from today. Get 2 or 3 cold cards while you still can. And if you want to save a couple bucks, I'll share my link here for you as well. Cold card is pretty much the only proof of thumbnail. Cold card is pretty much the only one that I promote. And again, I'm not sponsored by CoinKite. In fact, the referral program with CoinKite is probably the worst one in the industry. We get store credit. So that's why I have numerous cold cards here that I basically just use as dummies to show on the kind of like a decoration almost. So I'm not doing it for any sort of, kickbacks, but cold cards are the best. And Passport Foundation makes pretty good devices too. But that's the purple cold card queue. All right, who else is buying here? What did I miss up here? Chuck, Marco, Stripes is here. Stripes said, I had to sneak some headphones into a meeting, so a little late, but good morning, everyone. Good morning, Stripes. There's Alex right there. Good morning, Alex. Senior Gringo Poppy. Who's this? Matesh. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do, Jor. Big hello from London. Cheers. Thanks for being here this morning. I don't know if you're still here or not, but cheers to you. Kryptoni says they leaked my data. I've been using a hardware wallet ever since, but like someone said earlier, my address and everything got leaked. And do you know what settlement paid for? And do you know what the settlement paid for me? That $50. After I sell my house, ledger leaking my address will no longer be a problem. Jen's here. Jen, watching the class for work. My head is spinning. Rather be here. Well, you're kind of here in spirit, Jen. Thanks for showing up today. Lauren. Good morning, Lauren. Gronky Tonk Man says, thanks, Joe. I think scarcity is what matters. And that's why I will always stack sats. But I really want to find a way out of the 9 to 5. I could definitely stack more while price is low. Give me a pay link. I think you found her here, Gronky, because I saw some sats come through here. Gronky, are you a member on the school? I feel like that'd be a good place for you. A row of ducks, 2,222 units of freedom from Gronky. Thank you, my friend. Matt's also here. Matt sent 369 Tesla's app. Says, good morning, visionaries. Thank you, Matt. And Sin Diesel with an 18 and a 45. Thank you, Sin. Brian says, woo woo. Another solar miner hit a block yesterday. Wow. It's not being created, it's being released to the public. Exactly. Otto. Good morning. Odeno. I'm only interested in mining holding for the long term. Is just asking to be rug pulled. I'm only interested in mining, holding for the long term. I guess if you don't know what you're doing, yeah. But if you got your private keys and you know how to store the private keys, nobody can rug you. That's the whole point. This is pure gold, or should I say pure Bitcoin? Oh, I like that one. Yeah, pure Bitcoin doesn't really have the same kind of effect as pure gold. Josh says 25 Carnsters bought me 28,000 freedom units. Carnsters. Thank you, Josh. Goodbye today. Folsom Hoddle's here. Good morning, Folsom Hoddle. Legend has a bro still searching for the landfill for his Bitcoin hard drive. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you guys and girls. So when we think about this, when we go back to our buy there, when we think about and whoever answers this correctly is going to win some sats. I'm going to send them 1,000 sats. So whoever is the first to answer this question correctly is going to win 1,000 sats. And then we're going to give away some sats from Bitcoin Well. But here's the question. I just bought $21 worth of Bitcoin. And I was using an exchange called ShakePay. So they're a custodial exchange. And so I bought $21. I got 23,617 sats. Whose mail slot is that in right now? What happened there? When I bought $21 worth of Bitcoin with ShakePay, what happened there? Whoever can explain that best wins 1,000 sats. So I bought $21 worth of Bitcoin, which is 23,617 sats. I bought it with ShakePay, a custodial exchange. What happened there? Whose mail slot are those in? What was the process? Whoever answers that best, quickest, wins 1,000 sats. Oh, we had a couple good comments coming in here. A couple correct answers coming in here. So Josh got it right. Stayed on the exchange. But that's not, I guess it's right, but it's not really what I was looking for there. So Josh is correct. Of course they sit on the exchange, but those sats are still in ShakePay's mail slot. Those sats still belong to ShakePay, and only ShakePay can access those coins right now. And if we look at Galaxy Tile was the first one to get it right here. So ShakePay, mail slot. That's right. ShakePay's mail slot. Custodial exchange, ShakePay holds the sats. That's right. Sin had a longer answer here. He probably could have been first, but he explained it. He said it's in ShakePay's mail slot until you move it to cold storage, which is your own mail slot. Lauren says sitting in ShakePay's slot until you move them. That's right. ShakePay's mail slot until you unlock it. Yep. They didn't move. That's right. They didn't move. I sent them $21, but no Bitcoin moved there. Because hopefully they bought $21 worth of Bitcoin for me, and that's kind of earmarked for me, but those never left their ShakePay's mail slot. However, when I go to withdraw them, which I'll probably do later today or next or this week, that's when they'll move from ShakePay's mail slot to my mail slot. Once I take self-custody of those sats. So Galaxy Tile, send me your Lightning address. You could probably put it in the chat. Okay, let's give away a little bit of Bitcoin. Speaking of, what was I speaking of there? Speaking of custodial exchanges. Speaking of custodial exchanges, Bitcoin Well is not one of those. Here's a fun fact. Man, what a nerd. Here's a fun fact. Bitcoin Well doesn't even have a mail slot. Non-custodial exchanges don't even have mail slots. I mean, they might have some Bitcoin that they own, but it's not part of their exchange. They don't have a mail slot. So when you buy Bitcoin using Bitcoin Well, you send them dollars, they don't hold it. It never stays in their mail slot. It automatically goes to yours. I guess they would have to buy it then though. But they would never have the keys to your Bitcoin. They don't allow that. It's a self-custody Bitcoin exchange. They don't hold the keys for you. They don't hold your Bitcoin. You send the money, they send you Bitcoin to your mail slot. Exchange, I like this. Exchanges sell you Bitcoin IOUs. They hold the keys. We deliver real Bitcoin to your personal wallet or your mail slot in minutes. You're in control from the start. So what I would do for anybody in the US or Canada, give Bitcoin Well a shot. Even if you're already using something else and you like them, I would still recommend signing up for an account with Bitcoin Well and trying them out. I guarantee, I think it was Forrest who said this. Forrest said Bitcoin Well is the last Bitcoin exchange you use. So you start with a couple different ones, maybe Coinbase, maybe Binance, maybe Kraken. Maybe you upgrade to like a River or a ShakePay. But Bitcoin Well is the last Bitcoin exchange that you're going to use because they don't hold the Bitcoin. There's no risk of rug there. And that's what they say. Their exchanges sell you Bitcoin IOUs. They hold the keys to it. But Bitcoin Well is non-custodial. They send you the Bitcoin. You send them cash. They send Bitcoin to you. So I'd encourage everybody here, and we're going to give away some Bitcoin on behalf of Bitcoin Well to the people in the chat here. So now, if you got a couple seconds, get your Lightning wallet opened up, and I see Galaxy Tile at speed.app. Okay, I'm going to send those right now. Galaxy Tile at speed.app. Galaxy Tile at speed.app. Okay, 1088. This is the power of the Bitcoin Lightning Network. You ready? Sending 1,088 sats sent. So those should have arrived there, Galaxy Tile, any second. Let us know when you receive those. So I'm here in the prairies of Canada, and I just sent those sats to Galaxy Tile over the Lightning Network. Don't need his name. Don't need his location. All I need is his mail slot. And nobody's in between there. No bank can stop that transaction that I just sent there to Galaxy Tile. There it is. Got it. I mean, how could you do that? That's magic right there. Can't fake that. Okay, so let's give away some Bitcoin. Get your Lightning wallets opened up. We're going to give away a little bit of Bitcoin here. I'm going to zoom in. And the first person to scan this QR code is going to win some Bitcoin of their own. Galaxy Tile just got 10,088 sats. But somebody here is going to win some more sats, courtesy of Bitcoin Well. So here we go. First person to scan this QR code wins. I'll take this comment off. $210 sats. Decent. We're not happy with that, though. We want more. More. So it sounds like we're doing, looks like they were claimed. Sounds like we're doing another mastermind today, BTC mastermind. So that'll be on my channel. It'll be on Robin's channel. It'll be on Forrest's channel. And it'll be on Brandon's channel, I believe. That's going to happen at 2 p.m. Eastern time today. So if you want even more Bitcoin stuff, although that one's not necessarily focused on Bitcoin. But we had a really good first episode last week, and it sounds like we're going to do another one today. So here you go. Here's another toss, courtesy of the Bitcoin Well. 500. There you go. A little better. Let's see who's going to claim it. Let's see who's winning the sats today. Throw it in the chat if you want to. And somebody claimed it. And there you go. There you go, folks. One more. We'll do one more. He going to do one more. So these sats here are courtesy of our friends at Bitcoin Well. Again, test them out. I encourage you to just try. Just try them out. Sign up for an account if you're in Canada or the US. Figure out how to do it. You got to add a wallet. You can get your Aqua wallet, your Sparrow wallet, your Cold Card wallet. You put it in there before you buy Bitcoin. You send them money, and then Bitcoin shows up in your account within 24 hours. They batch their transactions. It's a smart way to do it. So you won't receive it instantly, but it'll be on its way within 24 hours. Just try it out. Do like $100, $200, $500, and just see, compare whatever you're using right now compared to Bitcoin Well. And I guarantee that you're going to love using Bitcoin Well. And you get free tosses too. I think if you use my links, and you can win up to 1 million sats. So 210 sats again. 210 sats again. Mr. Robot says, can I get 5 Bitcoin? Yeah. I mean, if you mine it or you buy it, you can get as much Bitcoin as you want to. Cool thing, though, is that nobody can just print more and give them to you. That's a cool thing about Bitcoin. Hold on. I got to charge this phone. Okay. Congratulations. So one more time, there's the link. Give them a shot. Give Bitcoin Well a shot. They're sovereignty first exchange. They don't even want to hold your Bitcoin. So they got good fees. They got good features. You can actually swap between Lightning and on-chain for free. I haven't seen that anywhere else other than Bitcoin Well. And you can do lightning withdrawals. You can pay bills. You can do recurring buys. You can do everything. They probably have the most features. I'd put them right up there with River. But give Bitcoin Well a shot. That's my challenge for you this week. Lori says, Shake Pay mail slot. Oh, Lori gets it. Lori gets it. All right. She was a little bit late. I think she's a little bit behind, but she got the right answer. So shout out to Lori. Okay, what else do we have here? Anything else to cover today? What happened to our Zap stream? Man, that was a good analogy today, I think. I hope people enjoyed that one today. Wow, we got 20 people watching in Rumble here. Or in Zap stream. It's impressive. That's impressive. And what else? I think I missed a couple comments here too. Okay, where was I? Folsom says, I realize a major problem with metals. I do have silver and tried to sell around all-time high at 120. None of my coin shops were buying. And when they finally did, it was 20% under spot. Yeah, there's a lot of people that learned that lesson this time. It's funny because silver holders haven't really had to worry about selling for the last 50 years, probably. Sad, but true. But yeah, they're not liquid at all. Oh, we got what's the guy's name from Home Improvement? The neighbor. What's his name? Not Glenn. Neighbor. What's the guy's name on Home Improvement? The guy, the neighbor looks over the fence. You can just see the top of his head. Not Robert. Not Glenn. Neighbor. I want to say Al, but he's got a weird name. Al's the other guy. Oh, it's gonna bother me. What's his name? Neighbor. Frick. I hate when that happens. Somebody in the chat probably knows. Wilson. That's right. Wilson. Thank you, Wilson. That would have driven me nuts if I couldn't think of that or couldn't come up with that. Okay, Praetorian's buying. Look at this big purchase from Mark today. Praetorian got 72,000 Freedom units. Mark got 567,000 Freedom units. Buy the dip. Alex got 91,000. Victor says, treasure safe. What's your view on this one? If you're using Bitcoin only, it's okay. I'd still prefer a cold card or a passport. Do you think it's really necessary to hold your Bitcoin in a multi-sig? Depends how much you have, because it's an investment. It's an investment in your time and money. So I would say I usually say if you have more than half a Bitcoin, you should be in multi-sig, or at least working your way there. And that's kind of the goal with our Bitcoin school, is that I want everybody who's going through the Bitcoin school course to have Bitcoin in multi-sig by the end of this year. That's all. Everybody's going to be moving together in harmony, working towards that goal of everybody having their Bitcoin in a multi-sig. So you can do a couple different things. You can risk it with a single sig. You can pay a company thousands of dollars to help you with multi-sig setup, and they do it so fast you don't even know what the hell's going on. Or you can show up every day. You can look at this as an investment of your time and of your money. You show up every day, and by the end of this year, you're going to have a multi-sig. And I don't even know what the cost is to join. I think it's like $20 a month. It's fucking laughable. It's honestly laughable. For how much value and how important that information is, it's laughable. But you can join. So what would that be? $20 a month for $200. You just commit some time, commit to it, and by the end of it, you're going to be in a multi-sig. $200 for the year. But it's kind of scale, right? I can help a lot of people at once instead of just one-on-one. So I don't think it's necessary, but if you have more than half a Bitcoin, I do think you should be at least working towards it. So again, that's the goal of Bitcoin School, is to have everybody, all the people going through it, in a multi-sig by the end of this year. So if you can commit to $200, you can not only get a one-on-one session included with that with me, but you'll have your Bitcoin in a multi-sig by the end of this year. That's kind of the goal for it. Everybody going through it. Okay, what has Mika got to say today? Jor, I sent you a PM wondering if we should reset our seed phrase on our device. Is that being too paranoid? We can chat tomorrow about it. Sure. Wonder if we should reset our seed phrase on our device. I mean, I must be missing context there. I don't know why you'd want to reset it. But yes, we can chat. So kind of, I don't know if everybody's probably people coming in and out of here, but if anybody signs up for a premium annual membership on the school, you get a free one-on-one call included. So we can talk about private keys. We can talk about UTXOs. We can talk about inheritance stuff. We can talk about passphrases, anything. You get me for a one-on-one session for anybody who purchases an annual premium membership. It's $200, I think. Stupid. What caused the difficulty to go up? More people mining. So if I had a Bitcoin miner sitting here and I plugged it into the wall, that would cause the, once the difficulty adjustment is reset, that would cause it to go up. Why? Because there's more people mining. What, if you think about what the process, oh, we're at 2 hours already. Jesus, I got to go. Sorry. Did I miss anything? More miners. Yep. That's right. What did I miss here? Gronky Tonk, $15 DCA. Nice. That was more than yesterday. Love that. Wilson. Thanks, everybody. Look at that, Kev. 1,556 sats for $1. Love that. Does not matter how much you're buying. The only thing that matters is that you're buying. Joshua over in Rumble or in Noster also got the correct answer. Okay, so that's kind of my the main thing today is if you are interested in joining us for Bitcoin School, it's a video every day, 2026. You already have 55 that you can start watching today. You get an annual premium membership on there, $200, and you send me a DM and you say, Jor, I want to book a call, free call. And that's going to, I think I'm going to end that in the end of February. So you got basically a couple of days to do that. So school.com/Jor. I'll have all this information pinned in the comments for the live stream and the clip. And maybe I'll end it on Saturday because that's when this is going to be replaying. So I'm going to end that promotion on Saturday. Maybe Sunday. I'll give the Saturday crew a day to do it. So that'll end on Sunday. School is cool. Yeah. So you get access to not just me, a one-on-one session, but you get access to Bitcoiners from all around the world here. Look at this. I've never looked at the map before this morning, but you got a lot of people here in, whoa. What's going on here? How do I zoom out now? Not a lot of people in Odessa, I guess. A couple of people in Texas, California, Eastern, Florida. Lots of people in Florida. Oh, I missed a bunch here. Georgia, a lot of people in Georgia. Pretty cool. Some people in New York, Philly, Pittsburgh, Denver, Colorado, Salt Lake City, Utah. So these are all people in the community. And I want to have, my goal is to have a Bitcoiner in every province and state, but also every country. A couple of people on the West Coast. Where's this? Oregon? Oregon, yeah. A couple of people in Oregon. A couple of people in Manitoba. A couple of people in Alberta. And then all around the world. All around the frickin' world. How do I zoom out here? Japan. There's some in Australia too. You can't see it there though. There they are. There's Australia. Lots in the UK. A couple in the ocean. Somebody in the Pacific Ocean. What is that, Hawaii? Somebody's literally in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I don't know how that happens. And then, so there it is. There's Bitcoiners from all around the world, part of this school community here. We're making a dent. We're making a dent. That's for sure. Marco's in, what is that? The Czech Republic? Does that say 2 in Japan? It looks like it's Scotty. Let's dial into that a little bit. Yeah. I didn't know there's somebody over there with you, Scotty. 2 people in Japan. So this is within like 50 miles, so it doesn't give away like your exact location. That'd be a nightmare. Or 10 miles here. It says pins are off by 10 miles. So pretty cool. And so you get the community, you get all this school. Kind of silly not to, in my opinion, but what do I know? So there it is. That's going to be active promotion until Sunday. So I'll put the pinned comments. If you're watching this live, I shared the link in the live chat. And that's it. That's what I got today. 2-hour session today. So big shout out to Mav21, the biggest zapper today. Special shout out to Joshua shows up here every day supporting the channel. And again, we don't have any sponsors, so that's kind of what we call them angels. They keep the show running here. Shout out to Maria, to Praetorian, to Duncan. And I think there was one more that I missed. The bigger ones anyways today. I think that's it. Okay. Oh, and to Sats and Sunsets for giving Daddy-O a membership today. So thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great Tuesday today. If you got some time in about an hour and a half from now, stop by, as it sounds like we're doing another live stream. I don't know what the topic is today, but some good guys, Forrest, Brandon, and Robin. I don't think Rajat's going to be there today. But anyways, thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Appreciate all the support and love. And if you can't donate financially, make sure you leave a comment and say, I really enjoyed this one today, Jor. I'll end it now. You can go do that before you forget. Have a good Tuesday. We'll talk to you soon.